Good evening. This is take 2 of my live Facebook interview with Marion Bevington. I'm Sheila Balgavin from the principal of Simply Improve Health, and I help people to train better, live happier, and sleep better using simple plant-based remedies and simple techniques. This evening, as I said, we're going to be chatting with Marion, who is the other half of the Find Your Why Foundation. Will recall that a few weeks ago, before the holiday, I spoke with the other half of this dynamic duo, Cheryl Chapman, and that was the engine of the Find Your Why Foundation. Today, we're going to talk to the heart, or what I consider the heart of the Find Your Why Foundation. So, Cheryl, we're going to start with a little bit of background.
I'm Marion.
Oh, sorry. What did I do? See that? See, you guys, Cherian. We call them Cherian because they're so integrated with each other that it's like you talk to one, it's like talking to the other. Marion, excuse me. Oh my gosh. You see that? It's your fault, you know. You started this.
All the stuff.
Marion, talk about how you found your why and why how you've gotten to where you are today with Find Your Why.
Okay, so how I found my why was by firstly following a path that I thought I should, because I was told it was the right thing to do, and then realizing that it doesn't matter how much improvement you get, how much reward you get, how great you get at the thing you should be doing. If it's not the thing that your heart wants to do, you never get fulfilled anyway. So I was doing really well, really successful, and not fulfilled. And from there, I was working in IT as a programmer. And from there, I had my first time ever, a voice in my head really clearly, loudly said, this is what I want to do. And it was actually in a yoga class. And I was teaching a yoga class, even though I wasn't qualified at the time. I was just a bit of an obsessive student. Spreading my
I can see that.
Spreading my obsession. And so a woman in the class called Barbara, I was living in Mexico at the time, and Barbara, she's gorgeous, Barbara, she's really tall, she's a bit Helen Mirren looking, blonde, tall, she's in her 80s, she's a diver, she's very fit. And she started coming to these yoga groups before I'd qualified. And I was just teaching people, helping people to understand the basics. And within 2 or 3 weeks, she had improved her shoulder movement. So I didn't even know she had this thing called bursitis. Oh. And she could literally lift her hand to about 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock, depending on what side of the clock you're standing on.
Yeah, if you're backwards, it's 10 o'clock.
And she came in one day and she went, look. She put her hand up and I didn't know. And I'm looking at her thinking, what's she doing? This woman's gone completely mad. And she said, look, I've not been able to do this for over 25 years. I've been to chiropractors, I've been to acupuncturists, I've been to osteopaths, physiotherapy. She listed all these things that she'd done. And I still had no idea what she was talking about. And I'm standing there going,
looking very knowledgeable, yeah.
Very nice. I'm really pleased. Didn't know why. But when she explained that she'd gone from this to this, I was a bit shocked because I'd never had a physical change that had been so clear in my body. So I didn't know that it was even possible to do that with, 3 weeks of yoga from somebody that wasn't trained. But that was the day when I realized what had happened and how just practicing with me every other day, I think it was, for 3 weeks, that somebody's body could change that much. That was that little voice in my head that just said, this is what I want to do. And now I understand that part of why I want to do that is because yoga is, for me, like playing. It's like a game. It's like, it's break time. We finished all the work for the morning. Let's go and play. So that's what yoga is for me. It used to be the thing that I did when I finished work, and it helped me to get back into my body. And 50 years after being given this body, I've realized that I'm actually able to, and it's it's a much more fulfilling life if you do actually embody my body and feel it and enjoy it and work with it and work on it and accept it. And it's got its own story. And I'm a part of that story, but I'm not always able to picture every part of it. So for me, the body itself is like an extension of the playground. I like to play. So my why, two parts. My why is about having fun, and the purpose of having fun is to enjoy this physical form firstly, and then all of the other forms and dimensions after that. So so that's a bit about why I have my why.
Well, and it echoes quite a lot of what I've done with my clients over the years, in that I help them to help them reduce their stress. I have to help them, first of all, get into their bodies, because we live from here up.
Well, that's what stress is, doesn't it? Stress comes off at the chin, basically.
Yeah, we're always up here. And so, just to get people to calm down into their bodies and connect with it is a revelation. And I had a client like that too. She had a stroke. She could only lift her arm about maybe 20 degrees. Working with her, an elderly lady, and the doctors told her, you just have to live with it. Yeah. You can imagine the kind of words that came out of my mouth when I heard that, which we will not repeat here. But within a year of working with her, she was able to not only raise her arm, but to do her hair, to cook. She got her life back. She got her why back. And that's, I think, that was part of what you did during our retreat in Morocco, was to get us to get our bodies nice and juicy, as you like to say. It's like, don't get any ideas, folks, about the fascia, which is like saran wrap around your muscles, loose and moving freely so that the body moves more easily. So, but on a, chilly morning, it was a bit difficult getting moving, but it would feel so good afterwards. But that's only a part of what you did, because it was not just about getting the body and mind to connect, but also deprogramming, as I call it. We're full of mental malware, as I like to call it. Yeah. And your work also entails reducing the mental, or getting rid of actually the mental malware. And I know Cheryl does that also in different ways. But I'd like to talk about some of the other ways that, besides yoga, that you use to help people to get to the point where they can actually look within and find what their why is.
Yes. So, obviously the deprogramming is a really big part of what I do. So one of the titles that I give myself is that I used to program computers, now I deprogram people. And what I know is that we all need programs in order to live and exist and experience and communicate and express ourselves in this world. We need programs. Every word is a program. It's got a sound to it. It's got a meaning to it, creates an image in the mind. So every word itself is a program. My name is a program. Yes. But if I didn't have a name, it would be more difficult to attract my attention if I'm in a room. So it's a good idea to have a name that's a program. That's fine. Yeah. But the more seriously I allow that name to infect me like a virus, rather than seeing it as just one of the hooks that I can hang some information on around me, the more I get stuck into that program, the more I allow that program to run me, then it's like the less control I've got, the less it's like I'm not being myself, because people give me the programs. So my name is given by somebody else. My race has been labelled by somebody else. Every word that I've ever been given has been given by somebody else. None of it is me. I can use them to share me, but actually, usually when I'm using them in the same way I was given them. So I'm actually sharing just the program. and not me. And
Yes.
so for me, the more I understand about deprogramming, what I'm doing is it's actually a reprogramming. Because if we got rid of all of the programs, you know, I'd have no name, I'd have no race, I'd have no body, effectively.
Yeah.
You know, how far can you go?
Yeah.
Being a meme.
If everybody was like that, if you had to call someone and you said, "Hey, you," everybody would turn around. Not much fun.
So in order for us to communicate and to have dialogue in the world, we do need this individual identity. So there's so much of this is very deep in yoga too. So the ego in yoga is seen in two parts. There's a whole belief structure called Sankhya, which is like the science of existence. It's a very powerful study. And in Sankhya, you come across this thing that's called, in English, it's called the ego, but it splits into two parts. And the first part is the I amness, you are. So I am is one person, you are is the other person, and I interact with you. So I have to be me in order to interact with you, or for you to interact with me. And then, so that's just this individualized aspect of who I am as a being. But then the other side of ego is where I take on the programs and build them around this individualness and then believe that this is also the truth.
Well, yes. Sorry, but I just want to stop you for a moment there, because this is where I think the heart of the deprogramming and reprogramming actually is to peel back all of those layers that have been slapped on us, you know, the labels, the layers, the beliefs, the thought processes that we have inherited by birth, by society, but whatever, by culture. And deconstruct all of that stuff and find out what it is you as an individual truly believe. And it's in that psychological separation. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but the psychological separation of ourselves from the tribe, whoever that tribe may be, or tribes, because we may belong to varying tribes, is part of our becoming who we are. And some people, unfortunately, never get to that point, and they stumble from one near disaster to another, or one actual disaster to the other, because they're not living their truth. They're not living their why for being. And it's unfortunate that that we don't teach those kinds of skills anymore. People don't want to look within. They're always looking outward. They're always reaching out, and it's almost they're afraid to look in.
Ask Google.
Who am I?
It's so important, that idea of truth, because it's something else that my experience is that I find that there are truths that I hold, and they're different to the truths that other people hold. And I used to think that wasn't possible. In fact, I think I was taught that there's only one truth. But my experience has never been that.
No,
it's never been that. But there's a belief in my mind that that's supposed to be how it is, and that interferes quite often. What makes me defensive, it makes me argumentative, it makes me push a bit too hard sometimes with a specific or a subject or it's the principle things.
I resemble that remark.
So yes, so when we get hung up on these ideas, and we believe that we are the idea rather than this is an idea, it's around me. And we are so, this is my esotericness coming out. We are it. We are the uni in universe. I am uni in universe. I am everything. And yet this physical form and this current psychological mind that I've got, they don't even know how to imagine that. So it just feels like, and because education has tried to teach me that I'm not that. I've never found it to be my truth, but I've also never found it to not be the truth. So this is where truth gets really interesting, because all I know of the truth right now is what my body is experiencing. I can have ideas and thoughts in my mind, but they'll be from the past or the future. In the present moment, the only truth I've got is something to do with connecting to this physical body. Because if I'm not connected to the physical body, I don't know if I'm connected to this now current present moment. Could be in the future, could be in the past, could be anywhere. So again, this comes back to the body, and the body is this experience in this life. It's what I'm here to have fun with, to enjoy. And I know it's working because people follow me and they have fun and enjoy it too.
Yes, this is a true mad woman, let me tell you. She always had us laughing when we were in Marrakesh. And Cheryl as well. They're both very people that are full of life and full of fun. And it's been a revelation to work with both of you, as well as the wider group. And if for those of you who are watching and listening, if you have been finding value in the fact that we're laughing our heads off, send some love hearts or hit some thumbs up and let me know. And if you have any comments, leave them, or questions, either for myself or Cheryl. And
Marion,
I told you, she's crazy. She's absolutely mad. But let's come back to having found your why. How did you come to be part of Find Your Why along with Cheryl, the two of you founding the foundation together?
So we actually met at a public speaking event, and it was I think it was 2011 or 2012. It was around that wonderfully dynamic, spooky time. We met, and it was we were coaching and helping the team of the public speaking team. We were both coaches and helping them to teach new students. Obviously, we'd gone through the initial student thing as well. We had been in the same building the year before watching Bob Proctor from The Secret, but we didn't know each other then. And that's actually how we got to be part of this public speaking group, because it was one of the things that came up at the Bob Proctor Day. And we both said yes to it, but we didn't know each other. And it took about a year after that before we actually got to know each other. And I've always, because I love teaching and I want to teach, and I want to teach yoga, and I want to play, and I want to show people how you can play and enjoy your life. And actually, I think that that's the purpose for all of us, is to explore and enjoy this life. I think it's everybody's purpose. That's one of my. Absolutely. And and that's what I'm good at. I'm good at getting it. Put me in the ring. Let me get on with it. That's what I want to do. But then the organisation of the whole, of the ring, of the audience, of the marketing, of the transferring of information before the event and sometimes after the event as well, are really crucial to the process that everybody needs. Yeah. And they're the bits that I don't have experience with. And I've got some skills, but it's not where my heart is. My heart is to be in the classroom, watching people do this. Yeah. Or whatever it is that you want to do. So mine is about, to get the body working, do the exercises. And I love I love the psychology of everything as well. But unless it's practical, unless you can apply it, unless there are some tools and techniques that show me how to use this when I need it so it does what I need it to do, there's no point in knowing all this stuff, is there? So the balance of sharing the content as an operator, if you like, as the teacher or the participant, and then bringing everyone together to experience that event. They're two very different worlds. Yes. And Cheryl comes from the world of sales, and we're both very bossy.
Yes, I'll say.
She's quite organised and bossy, and I'm like the opposite. I'm chaotic and bossy. There's something quite yin and yang about that going on.
Yeah, well, that's why I said in another life, I'm sure the two of you are like siblings or married or something, because you really do have a synergy between you that's quite unusual.
But we're very similar in age as well. This is another thing, part of the relationship that we've got. I think there's only 3 months between us in age. We're both from the north of England. So we had the same life team. The same programming effectively was what we got. After that, we both went in very different directions. But what we've got together is we've got this ability for Cheryl to stay organised and help everybody, guide everybody to make sure that we all know what is it we're doing right now, why are we actually doing it, and how will we know when we've done it or when we need to do more with it. So she's got all of that. And then I do just the bit that you have to do. We both have different levels of perspective. So, you know, I can see a bigger picture sometimes, Cheryl can see a bigger picture sometimes. And the two of us working together, it means that we can bounce ideas off each other. Because we're quite familiar with each other, we do now know what the other one's talking about, usually.
There are occasionally, though, there are these little differences of opinion, shall we say?
Not even differences of opinion. Sometimes we totally have different conversations, and we think
that's true. I've seen that happen. That's quite amazing, actually. Like somebody, you know, somebody speaking Chinese and somebody speaking French, and they're just going at it. And it's amazing.
And then so to work together, what we realized was that all of the yoga and all of these kind of, you know, woo-woo esoteric stuff that I work with, and the world of business and being very straight and serious and sincere and all of those S words, or being a bit crazy or chaotic or creative and all of the C words, we knew that we needed to bring all of that together. And so we both, because I'm from a programming background, so at certain types of organization I'm brilliant at. In fact, sometimes I'm a little bit compulsive. I call my OCD my trick. And so because Cheryl's got this real skill, this knack of keeping things and keeping things quite simple, when I go off on a tangent, she's like, hang on a minute, it's this simple thing here. And then sometimes I'll hear there's an oversimplification. I'll say, when you look at this one simple situation from a different perspective, then you could see. So together, we really do have this great skill of sharing what we know and helping you to put it into practice, to embody it and to use it to help to better yourself, to find your own why. Because if you don't have a why, if you don't have any desired outcome or any desired goals at all, whose life are you actually living?
Or what life are you living, even? You know, this is like the Walking Dead, really.
If you haven't got your own, you're doing something for somebody else, aren't you? You go to work, pack. The goal is to get butter in the supermarket shelves and sell it. Is that your goal? If you work in a layer pack and you don't have one of your own, your goal is to sell butter in supermarkets? Like, wow.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, if that's your goal in life and that makes your heart sing, then go for it. I mean, you know, everybody has their own thing, but what's important is that you find your own thing, and not allow others, and more importantly, not allow yourself to cheat yourself out of living your why. And I think that's a lot of the inner work that you had, you and Cheryl, in different ways, were doing, was to get us to a place where we've offloaded the garbage, and then, like you say, reprogram, put in good software as opposed to that malware that you got rid of. And then from that, use that as a springboard to be able to, well, what is it that does make my heart sing? And not only makes my heart sing, but can be turned into a viable idea or vehicle for business, or an idea or an invention or whatever it may be, but that will express who you are in essence. And I've been talking about for the last few weeks, I said, well, for me, getting rid of the garbage and finding my why has meant that courses that I've been sitting on, one in particular, which I will be talking about. I know I keep mentioning it, and it's almost here. I'm going to be talking about it very soon. You have to stay tuned. That these courses that I've been sitting on for so long are finally starting to see the light of day. One of which will actually see the light of day for the very first time in public in a week's time, which I'm really excited about that. But it was the culmination of years of inner work. I mean, I just don't work on my clients. I have to work on myself, and have been doing that for over 20 years now. but it took that extra bit of time away to step back from the tables and chairs of my life, to be able to really see that what there was something in me that wanted to be expressed, and it was me that was holding me back.
Yes.
But and once I realized that, and then got rid of the malware, the mental malware, I was ready to fly, and it's been like that ever since I've been back from Morocco.
Oh,
It's just been
that's so good.
amazing, amazing.
Good.
Some of the changes, have been unexpected. Some have been crazy,
Well,
but
it's so weird because what happens, Sheila, is like what we've realized, this is the beauty of the Find Your Why Foundation, is what we've realized is that in order for the things that keep stopping you all the time, every project, every day, those things, they come up quite easily, and you can stimulate them by just setting one small, easy goal. You will stimulate your biggest shit, procrastination, whatever the blocker is, by a tiny little goal. You'll stimulate some aspect of it. And so we call it the shit shows up. So you get into action, the shit shows up. What do you do next? Usually we eat, we drink, we have sex, we watch the TV, we go on Facebook.
Shopping, whatever. Yeah.
We'll distract.
Avoidance.
Exactly. We'll avoid it. So instead of avoiding it, what other things can you do when the shit shows up? Because you've got this goal, this one little simple, easy goal that you want to do. Mm-hmm. So the thing to do is to confront this procrastination or whatever it is, and say, I see you. You are here. You stopped me. Hello, you stop me regularly. Hello, you're very familiar to me. And wow, now I'm curious. Rather than go, you bastard, you're always in the bloody way. Or, oh, great, I can go shopping now.
Yeah.
It's about meeting this procrastination point where it is right now and looking at it. And when you start to clear that little knot. So, and a great example of how things go weirdly, when I first started using EFT, which is one of my favorite stress management techniques, which is the tapping, I started to do it, and I got it one day. I was like, it's being in an emotional state, tapping in there and playing like this. Hello, I see you. I acknowledge you. This is familiar to me. Tapping on this procrastination. It's familiar to me right now. And I started to do it, and I thought, let me choose words that really evoke an emotion in me. So one of them was cringe. Yeah. So use the word cringe. So think about a cringy thing. What does it make you do? Kind of makes me go a bit like, and the more you let your body go into cringe, it just gets tighter. Like, wound up and wound up and wound up. And in that cringe, as I tapped and wound up, it's tight. The tapping would help to realign and reorganize the feelings inside the word of cringe for me. And about a month later, maybe less, I'd noticed that I'd stopped getting hard skin on my feet. Like after years of it getting more and more, suddenly it just stopped. And it was the only thing that I could remember that I'd really focused on was this word cringe. And I was like, who knew that cringing put hard skin on your feet? Who knew that?
Well, but if you think about it, think about it from a purely body perspective. Yeah. If you're cringing, it means that you're either walking around on tiptoe,
you're disconnecting.
Maybe you're dragging your feet. You're not wanting to be there, and
you're connecting, aren't you? You're trying to disconnect. Cringe is about disconnect.
Yeah. So and that's one of the techniques that I've used with counseling clients is similar. It's getting them again to make that mind-body connection, and it's like particularly if a trauma, if we've been working for a while together, and there's a particularly deep trauma that needs to come up in order to start the process of deprogramming. And I'll ask them, when they say a certain phrase or word, where do you feel that?
Yeah.
And it stops them for a minute, because it's like, feel in my body? Huh? They're really shocked. But it's like, no, where are you feeling any kind of sensation in your body right now?
Yeah.
And it's then that finally that connection starts to make sense.
I did. That was what I discovered with the EFT, because I'd done yoga for years. So I had a really, what I believed at the time, I had a very deep, rich connection with my body. Right. But when I started to tap, and I had a friend in India, and he suffered, I think it was migraines he suffered from, or nausea. Anyway, he had some symptom that it kept coming back. And I arrived one afternoon and he said, oh, I'm sure it was migraines. He said, oh, I've got this really bad migraine. I'm going to disappear to the bedroom. And I said, no, you're not. Right, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a look at this migraine because I'm interested in it. So as we sat, and I said, okay, so what are you feeling? He said, I've got this pain. It's here, it's here, it's here. I said, okay, so just check in with the body. And while the pain is here and here and here, what's the body doing? He went, oh, I've got this nausea in my stomach. I said, okay, very interesting. What else? What are you feeling in your legs? And so I named different body parts, and he discussed how they were feeling in that moment while the pain was here and here and here. And at the end of it, I said, how are you feeling? He went, well, I don't know now. He said, because before, the pain in my head was really bothering me. But now I realise not only have I got a pain in my head, I feel sick. My legs feel...
You've opened the can of worms.
So I'm like, are you surprised that you want to go and hide in your bedroom when what you've called the migraine is coming? Of course you'd want to hide. I'd want to hide if I felt like that. So then we use the tapping, and we're like, even though I'm feeling sick, even though I've got these heavy legs, I just tap on each of the individual symptoms. And it worked. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I just remember him going, oh my God, I had no idea it was so much more than a bloody migraine.
Yes, and this is it. It's that reconnecting with ourselves that's so important, because if we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, we're not going to have a good relationship with anything or anyone else. Yeah. You know what? We could go on for hours, absolute hours. I can't believe how much time has flown away. This has flown by, and it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Marion. And if you, my watchers and listeners, have found any of this of interest, please leave your comments, your love hearts, your emojis. And if you have any questions that you'd like to have answered, whether it be about Find You Why Foundation, or to ask about EFT or any of the other things that have been spoken about in this broadcast, just drop a comment, or you can contact me on my page, Simply Improve Health, or you can get to Marion as well. She's on Facebook. She'd be happy to answer questions
down here.
Yeah, well, no, your name has been showing all along, so no problem at all. Thank you so much, Marion. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yes, we're going to get some of our wise women who are away with us in Marrakesh, and have them share their stories as well, because to show you the power of this program, I can't speak highly enough about it. It's been a revelation for me and for many other people as well. Take care, Marion. Thanks so much. Yay! And we'll be in touch soon, I'm sure. Take care. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.